Basketball. Iowa State-style basketball. Coach Johnny Orr's Iowa State Cyclones face the roughest and the toughest teams in the nation. The Iowa State Cyclones will face the Sooners of Oklahoma this Tuesday evening at 7 on your TV station, 5TV.
Remember the Lawsons, a slightly unusual family?
Vicky, you okay?
Okay.
Is that all right?
All right.
Okay.
Their 11-year-old daughter, Vicky, just happens to be a robot.
Works great, huh, Dad?
That little bundle of circuits and diodes keeps the Lawsons jumping.
Vicky!
Their neighbors guessing, and all of America laughing.
Isn't it wonderful?
Small Wonder. One wonder you'll never
Small
forget.
Wonders, Sunday evenings at 5:30 on 5TV.
This is 5TV. From ABC News, World News Saturday, here's Kathleen Sullivan.
Good evening, everyone. ABC News tonight has obtained new information regarding White House Chief of Staff Donald Reagan and his role in preparing a misleading chronology in the Iran-Contra affair. This as the Tower Commission paid a surprise visit today to former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane in his hospital room. Bob Zelnick now with our report.
Tower Commission sources say today's surprise session came at the request of McFarlane, who preferred to respond orally as well as in writing to a number of questions forwarded by the Commission following Thursday's meeting. Well-placed sources say much of today's questioning focused on a misleading chronology of the Iran affair assembled by White House staffers in November in order to obscure the president's role in the matter. ABC News has learned the Commission has concluded that the information was ordered doctored by White House Chief of Staff Donald Reagan, already reported close to resignation. Commission sources say the report, due Thursday, is likely to damage President Reagan for his failure to control his own NSC. Donald Reagan. In addition to his role in the chronology, the Commission feels Reagan has not been fully candid regarding the president's approval for the first Israeli shipment of TOW anti-tank missiles to Iran. Secretary of State Schultz, who the Commission believes knew much more about the arms for hostages shipments than he has to date made public. And Defense Secretary Weinberger for not protesting more vigorously about the shipments, although Weinberger maintains he did all he could.
I made my opposition known in as vigorous a fashion as I'm capable of doing.
The Commission will also conclude that North was no loose cannon, but instead kept superiors like Poindexter and McFarlane fully informed of his activities. The Commission's mandate does not include criminal wrongdoing, but the mandate of independent counsel Lawrence Walsh does. And today, the Chicago Tribune reports that Walsh has uncovered evidence of obstruction of justice by certain unnamed White House staffers. Yet another problem, newly selected White House Communications Director John Kohler, today defended as insignificant membership in a Nazi youth group in his native Germany.
I'm not going to withdraw. If the president wishes me to withdraw, I certainly will.
Chief of Staff Reagan's people blame the Kohler affair on the East Wing, where Nancy Reagan has her staff. The First Lady, who recommended Kohler's appointment, has been seeking Reagan's ouster over the Iran affair. To outsiders, all this White House squabbling seems a bit like fighting for deck chairs on the Titanic. And with the Tower report and other investigations lurking like icebergs in the sea, the cruise is likely to become even less pleasant in the days ahead. Bob Zelnick, ABC News, Washington.
In the Middle East, Muslim factions battling in West Beirut have asked Syria for help tonight in reaching a peace agreement. About 4,000 Syrian troops are surrounding the city, poised to end a week of bloody battles that have killed at least 200 people. At the same time, Syrian negotiators are trying to arrange a peace settlement. Jerry King with details.
Lebanese and Syrian officials have been working out the final details today on this new Pax Syriana, Syria's second major peacekeeping venture in Beirut in 12 years.
We are sure that all the citizens in Beirut are going to be pleased.
But last night, when the basic plan, pretty much dictated by Damascus, went to Syria's President Assad for approval, it was clear that not all the Lebanese were pleased. This is Walid Jumblat, the Druze leader, who apparently had his knuckles rapped by the Syrians. They blamed Jumblat for precipitating the heavy fighting this past week in Beirut. It was some of the fiercest fighting in years, Jumblat's Druze militia versus the Shiites. There were withering exchanges of automatic weapons fire, often across narrow streets. Lebanese sources say this latest peace plan would send 4,000 Syrian troops and tanks to the coast. They would then split off to cover the road to the south and Beirut. Unofficially, the sources say there may be 10,000 Syrian soldiers involved. The plan also calls for the disarming and the disbanding of all the private militias in West Beirut. Tonight, 4 carloads of Syrian officers and troops have reached the southern part of Beirut, an advance party to the Syrian peacekeeping force. It is said to be being welcomed enthusiastically by the Lebanese so far. It's not the first time Syria has tried to impose peace in Lebanon. In 1976, Syria sent in 35,000 troops to stop the fighting and disarm the gunfighters. It hasn't worked yet. Jerry King, ABC News, Damascus.
An PLO official tonight says that American hostages in Lebanon will be held there until 1989. Salah Khalaf, a deputy advisor to Yasser Arafat, says the hostages will not be harmed, but will be held as protection against U.S. retaliation, perhaps until after President Reagan leaves office.
World News Saturday, brought to you by AT&T.
We call her the baby from another planet. When she looks at me, she goes, Maga?
Since AT&T lowered long-distance prices 30%, it costs even less to call someone you love.
Well, she'll talk if Tom sings to her.
Oh, my baby. Oh,
on weekends, you can call all across the country and visit 20 minutes for just $3.52 or less.
Talk to Grandma.
Did you hear that? No, she said goofla. Goofla.
You've just had your dentures professionally cleaned.
How can I keep them looking this way?
With professional strength Efferdent. Efferdent removes stains, kills germs, cleans away plaque, even in between. For a professional looking clean, get Efferdent.
If you're allergy sensitive, cold symptoms can make your winter attacks feel even worse. For relief, discover Benadryl decongestant. With Benadryl, the most prescribed allergy medication ever, plus a nasal decongestant. Benadryl decongestant.
The Soviet Union tonight is preparing to detonate its first nuclear test in a year and a half. The Soviets ended their self-imposed moratorium with an announcement to American scientists. Rick Indifferth reports.
First word of the imminent Soviet test was delivered to this group of American scientists, who the Soviets allowed last year to install monitoring devices near their principal testing site.
The Soviet authorities told the NRDC representatives to turn off our monitoring machines for at least 3 days, which is an indication that they're about to set off their first test in 18 months.
That directive came as something of a surprise to the American scientists because of a recent statement by the Soviet ambassador in Washington.
If the Soviet Union conducts a test following the next American explosion, will the Soviet government allow that equipment to remain operational and turned on for the test?
My answer to your question is yes.
Still, the resumption of Soviet nuclear testing at their site here in Central Asia was not unexpected. Earlier this month, the U.S. conducted its first nuclear test of the year in Nevada. 2 days later, the Kremlin announced its testing moratorium had come to an end. Indeed, there have been 25 underground explosions at the U.S. test site since the Soviet moratorium began 18 months ago. And many experts believe the Soviet military, citing those tests, brought pressure to bear on Soviet leader Gorbachev to end the moratorium, saying the U.S. was gaining an advantage in new weapons design. But U.S. officials were never interested in joining the Soviet moratorium, in part because continued testing is needed for President Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative. So, said one U.S. official recently, if the Soviets want to resume their testing, let them do it. Rick Indifferth, ABC News, the State Department.
Senator Sam Nunn of Georgia says at this time he has no plans to seek the Democratic nomination for president. But Nunn also says he's one of a group of lawmakers now in the race who believe that they are qualified to be president. One potential Democrat who has closed the door to the nomination is New York Governor Mario Cuomo, who had been considered long a leading contender. So where does that leave the Democrats? Here's Jim Wooten.
That forlorn figure there is none other than Governor Cuomo himself, waiting for a ride on the first day of his non-candidacy, a pursuit he abandoned in part, he says, because nobody can run New York and run for president simultaneously. As to his other reasons,
maybe he wasn't ready for all the scrutiny that goes on. Maybe he wasn't ready for all of the early preparation that it takes. But whatever happens, it opens up the field for the Democratic Party.
Indeed it does. Opens it up to such dark horse unknowns as Missouri Congressman Richard Gephardt and former Arizona Governor Bruce Babbitt. But the major beneficiary of Cuomo's decision is probably Gary Hart. He's still in debt from his '84 campaign and will no doubt profit from new money freed up by Cuomo's departure and new support from Cuomo's faithful. And for a while at least, Gary Hart will stand alone, clearly the best known in the whole bunch.
I think for Gary Hart, it eliminates his chief opponent today. But there'll be somebody else that will take Mario Cuomo's place. There's no free ride in it for Gary Hart.
For example, Massachusetts Governor Michael Dukakis may now get in, although he rejects the liberal label both he and Cuomo have been tagged with.
I think we'd like to think that we're governors who represent everybody and can appeal to everybody. And if the Democrats are going to win in 1988, they've got to have candidates who can do that.
There may now be more room for liberals like Senators Joseph Biden of Delaware and perhaps even Bill Bradley of New Jersey. On the other hand, there may be less space for Jesse Jackson to maneuver. He was counting on two white candidates to divide up the southern white vote in all those primaries on Super Tuesday, and with solid black support, maybe winning a few of them himself. Without Cuomo, that theory has less logical weight.
It does mean that the Rainbow Coalition must keep alive the progressive wing of the Democratic Party.
And so, like Mario Cuomo himself, the first big surprise of the '88 campaign has now come and gone. But it surely won't be the last one, for as the latest gag making the political circuit suggests, there are three things the Democrats must do to win back the White House in 1988. Unfortunately, nobody knows what they are. Jim Wooten, ABC News, New York.
And the nation's governors opened their annual winter meeting here in Washington today. They're discussing ways to change the nation's welfare system, including work programs that would provide education and job training. The governors also want a larger share of welfare payments from the federal government.
Buttermilk, sauerkraut, liver, cheese.
Can't somebody do something about dishwasher odor?
It's Arm & Hammer baking soda to the rescue. Just sprinkle about 1/4 cup in your dishwasher to help keep it smelling fresh between loads. Absorbs odors for days, the same way an open box absorbs odors in your fridge and freezer.
Hey, it worked. Now can we have some real food?
Arm & Hammer baking soda freshens the fridge, freezer, and now the dishwasher too.
Sure, the pride is back. Plymouth Sundance and Plymouth Voyager are the proof. Plymouth Sundance, the unbelievable American under $7,600, the best value in its class. Plymouth Voyager, front-wheel drive, optional V6 power, and a new 7-year or 70,000-mile protection plan backs them both.
The pride is back, born in America again.
This is America's cup of coffee, Taster's Choice. And this is the cup that commemorates the American victory, free from Taster's Choice. See specially marked jars, and you can bring home America's cup. Some coffee brands use chemical solvents in decaffeinating the coffee. But Taster's Choice does it naturally, using no chemicals, just pure water and oil from the coffee bean itself. The choice for taste is Taster's Choice.
Dad's bad. Mommy, Daddy's coughing like crazy.
Oh, you sound awful.
Give him my cough medicine.
Daddy needs something stronger than that.
When a strong cough comes on, adults need a strong medicine to help turn it off. Vicks Formula 44, the only liquid cough medicines with the maximum strength cough suppressant adults need in every formula for the relief adults want. Formula 44, strong medicine to help turn a strong cough off. From Vicks, of course.
Tonight, Japanese sources say the 7 nations now meeting in Paris have agreed that a further drop in the value of the dollar would be undesirable. Officials from Europe, Japan, Canada, and the United States are talking in Paris about ways to stabilize erratic world currencies. An official announcement is expected tomorrow. In his weekly radio address today, President Reagan called on Americans to join in his campaign for competitiveness in the world economy. The president pointed to the new economic dominance of West Germany and Japan, countries which were defeated during World War II. And tonight, Capitol Hill is calling on President Reagan not to back out of his commitment in the fight against drug abuse. The Reagan administration's proposed budget questions that commitment. Bill Greenwood reports.
The President and First Lady have campaigned against drug abuse with almost missionary zeal, including an unprecedented joint television appearance.
Nancy's personal crusade, like that of so many other wonderful individuals, should become our national crusade.
We want you to help us create an outspoken intolerance for drug use.
The Reagan said the statistics speak for themselves. An estimated 5 billion Americans sniff cocaine, and 1 person in 12 smokes marijuana. It's a $130 billion a year illegal industry. And last October, with great fanfare, the President signed legislation giving authorities $4 billion to fight back.
The American people want their government to get tough and to go on the offensive. And that's exactly what we intend, with more ferocity than ever before.
But check out the President's next budget proposal, lopping $900 million from the previous commitment. In a turn on the administration's oft-stated slogan, "Say no to drugs," critics in Congress said no cuts.
It is nothing short of mockery to produce a budget that cuts in half the funds for drug education.
The Reagan budget would also eliminate federal aid for state and local narcotics enforcement, abolish 2,000 jobs in the Customs Service, and provide no increase in money for drug abuse treatment.
The President is not helping us at all by throwing a damper on this effort.
No one in the administration is in favor of drug abuse.
Budget Director James Miller has defended the drug enforcement package before critical senators, who think the administration is trying to have it both ways. Indeed, some members believe the President may pull it off. Because all of the fear and attention focused on the drug problem by the First Family, Congress has always voted to spend more than requested by the President. And no one expects that to change in this budget battle. Bill Greenwood, ABC News, Washington.
Black leaders in Tampa, Florida tonight blame a second night of violence there on police brutality. Dozens of young people smashed windows and threw rocks and bottles last night. At least 14 were arrested. The violence apparently was triggered by reports that a black man died in police custody Wednesday night after a lethal chokehold.
The tax laws are changing. The deductions on interest are changing. So maybe you should apply for a card that doesn't charge interest. The American Express card. Apply over the phone by calling 1-800-THE-CARD.
Tums doesn't have it. Rolaids doesn't have it. Maalox-Plus does. We have what you need for complete relief of excess acid, heartburn, and gas. Maalox for acid and heartburn, plus simethicone for gas. Get complete relief. Try Maalox-Plus.
You've always trusted Woolite to care for your fine sweaters. Wouldn't you love to get that same Woolite care for your rugs and for your chairs? Well, here's how. Woolite Spray Foam Rug Cleaner works so well it removes even stubborn dirt. And for chairs, Woolite Upholstery Cleaner foams away dirt safely and beautifully. Get your rugs and upholstery Woolite clean with Woolite Rug Cleaners and Upholstery Cleaner. Trust Woolite care for rugs and chairs.
I'll take that with climate control and 6-way power seats. Gotta have that.
How much can you save on 18 new Buick models? It's your option. You can save up to $1,200.
Oh, aluminum wheels. Yeah, that'll look sharp. Sounds good, huh? Power windows.
You can take your savings as a cash rebate. Apply it to the down payment or the lease payment. It's a better time to buy. So see your participating Buick dealer for details now.
Grand touring suspension.
Buick, where better really matters.
Ooh, and I want the concert sound system.
Wait till you see the changes we're making at Howard Johnson.
This is Howard Johnson? This is Howard Johnson?
Är det verkligen Howard Johnson?
This is Howard Johnson?
If you haven't stayed with us recently, you may be in for a surprise.
This is Howard Johnson.
We're changing our rooms, our furnishings, and there's a new attention to service.
This is Howard Johnson.
This is Howard Johnson.
And now sports news. There was a brief slugfest for the IBF light heavyweight title today. In Atlantic City, the 25-year-old champion Bobby Ches recovered from a brutal first round, and then Ches rocked challenger Willie Edwards in round 2, finishing off with that right. Some conference battles headline today's college basketball action. In the Big Ten, Indiana stayed in first place and avenged an early season loss against Iowa as Keith Smart led the Hoosiers with 17 points. In the ACC, first place North Carolina handled Clemson and Chapel Hill. And the nation's #1 team, Nevada-Las Vegas, won a tough conference game against New Mexico State. The Running Rebels were behind by 19 at halftime, but they blew away the Aggies in the second half. Those Running Rebels have been at the top of the polls for most of the season. At 28-1, Nevada-Las Vegas has earned the #1 ranking over traditional powerhouses like Indiana and North Carolina. And even though the Rebels have enjoyed basketball success for more than a decade now, some hardly noticed. Well, they're noticing now. Here's Jim Lampley.
The show itself is unlike any other in college athletics. The lights are dimmed. The firecrackers explode. One by one, the chorus line takes the stage. And then, to the accompaniment of rising frenzy and movie theme music, the unlikely star makes his entrance. He is Jerry Tarkanian, Tark the Shark to his idolaters, the sad-eyed, enigmatic band leader of the Nevada-Las Vegas Runnin' Rebels. For the moment, college basketball's headline act. In the city with the neon skyline, the slump-shouldered Armenian hoop coach inspires the ultimate in modern recognition.
Jerry, Jerry, oh yeah, how you can coach.
Walk like a Tarkanian. Walk like a Tarkanian.
Little though the Shark may look the part, his #1 ranked team is totally Vegas. Barrages of three-point bombs and blistering fast breaks are accompanied by glittering camp followers, scantily clad cheerleaders, and even more scantily clad, the latest in planned distractions for opposing free throw shooters. The governing powers of college athletics are not amused. Suspicious of both the culture and the methods behind it, the NCAA has conducted a 14-year dispute with Tarkanian, the outcome of which awaits a decision from the Nevada Supreme Court. As public enemy #1, perched in their remote desert outpost, the Rebels relish their position atop the weekly polls.
For us to be #1, it's not really a slap in the face to the East Coast, but it's making a statement saying that they do have ball players out here, and there is something special out here in the West, and we're trying to prove that this year.
The players are not NCAA investigators. They assume their coach has done nothing to hurt anyone.
Sometimes just being in the city of Las Vegas, he gains that negative perception without even trying.
It's the town, the showgirls, all night town and mafia, whatever you want, the casino.
Your mother's worried about you coming out here.
Particularly, you might suspect, if she wants you to get a degree. The graduation rate for Tarkanian's Vegas recruits is below 20%, a figure directly related to the Sharks' philosophy of education.
The job of the university is to give an opportunity for everybody to make a better life for themselves, to educate themselves. I think you have to touch all segments of society, not just the elite. It's more important for the university to educate than it is to graduate.
That idea was behind the recruitment of Lloyd Daniels, a New York playground phenomenon who attended 5 high schools without earning a diploma. After Tarkanian's staff placed him under guardianship, nursed him through a junior college, then enrolled him at Las Vegas, he was picked up in a routine cocaine bust. The coach was disappointed, but unmoved.
Well, if a kid has had a problem someplace else, it doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad kid. A lot of kids just haven't had any guidance or haven't had any leadership or have never felt that they could trust anybody.
Not everyone goes along.
He considers UNLV a kind of a university, a halfway house for troubled youth, and a lot of people disagree with him, including myself.
The coach loves to point out that his are not the kind of players who would be found at North Carolina or Indiana. He is offended by those who would judge them harshly and determined to avoid doing so himself.
I don't look down on those kids, and I'm being very realistic. A lot of the things these kids did, I did when I was young myself.
Jim Lampley, ABC News, New York.
And coming up, Judd Rose is gone south this week.
Kathleen, today we're in Angola, Louisiana. Coming up next, the only radio station in the world with a captive audience.
In the beginning of recorded history, man had an idea called caravan. Slow and plodding, but right for its time. Some years later, man had a better idea. Dodge Caravan. Efficient, versatile, and perfect for its time. It has a newly available V6 for more power. And with front-wheel drive and a 770 protection plan, Dodge Caravan has no equal in the civilized world. Dodge, setting new standards of performance.
When minor arthritis pain gets a hold of you need the warming power of Bengay. Bengay's penetrating warmth starts relieving pain fast, right where it hurts most. So break the grip of pain with Bengay.
You can't sleep. There's pain. Now break the barriers of sleeplessness and pain with Unisom Dual Relief, a new formula sleep aid plus aspirin-free pain relief. Tonight, take new Unisom Dual Relief.
Sunday on Business World.
Broadcasters who went on the air with a new radio station in Louisiana last fall had to work their way through more than the usual amount of red tape. The new station offers similar programming to many others around the country. So what makes it so difficult to get this station on the air? Judd Rose explains.
Your window shopping, just window shopping.
On the country roads around Angola, Louisiana, it's the hottest spot on the radio dial. 91.7 KLSP. That's LSP as in Louisiana State Penitentiary.
You're listening to KLSP. We're affectionately known as the Incarceration Station. Coming up at this time, some heartbreakers.
8 hours a day, 7 days a week, KLSP offers news, sports, talk shows, music, just like the professionals. But the disc jockeys aren't pros, they're cons.
Don't it make you think about the good times? Hey, we all had good times. That's the way it is sometimes.
His patters as soulful as his platters. Afternoons on KLSP belong to Big Brother Amin, who's also serving a 100-year sentence for armed robbery.
It's better than picking cotton. The pay is the same, but there's no comparison.
The pay is 4 cents an hour on the air or in the fields for the nearly 5,000 inmates at this maximum security prison. It was the warden, Frank Blackburn, who decided a radio station would improve communications across this sprawling 18,000-acre complex. But there was skepticism from those who questioned giving inmates the power of an open mic.
I have been questioned at times by other prison administrators. One time, one of them asked me, said, why don't we just give them a machine gun?
But last fall, backed by private funding and built by inmate electricians, KLSP was turned on and the prisoners tuned in.
We have 2 disc jockeys who are us. They're prisoners too. So they can tell us and they can speak to us from what's going on inside of us because they know they're in here with us.
What other radio station can I get on the telephone and call and say, hey man, look, this is what I want to hear?
What they usually want to hear are old songs from the years they were free, but there's also jazz and gospel and Legal Spectrum, which offers the latest on court decisions and the law.
It would bring tears in my eyes. For one day, some guy, he said, I heard you guys cite a case on KLSP on the Legal Spectrum. He said, I used that case, man, and it won my freedom.
KLSP's signal goes 30 miles out, so it's even starting to build a non-captive audience, which is part of the idea.
It's going to shed credibility upon us, and it's going to help people to know that they got others like us in here who can go back into society and function as a decent human being.
Don't forget, these are hardened criminals, killers, rapists, but even if they live in cages, they are not animals. Behind these bars are men. The face of this prison is shut away, but now its voice is free.
Do the best you can. And move along. And move along.
Judd Rose, ABC News, Angola, Louisiana.
And that's our report for tonight. Britt Hume will have more news later on the Weekend Report. I'm Kathleen Sullivan. For all of us here at ABC News, have a good evening.
From Washington, this has been World News Saturday. Tomorrow, watch World News Sunday for a complete look at the day's top stories. World News Saturday is a presentation of ABC News.
Tomorrow, join the call to arms.
What are you doing?
Starting a revolution. Capture the spirit. Share the victory.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Don't miss the incredible conclusion of America.
Veterans, have you called yet for your free copy of the 1987 Guide to Veterans Benefits? I'm Roger Staubach. Are you personally up to date on all the government benefits available to you? Loans, help with education, medical and dental benefits, insurance. This valuable publication tells you who's eligible, what's available, where to apply. If you're a veteran, call this toll-free number right now. You'll get this 1987 guide to veterans benefits absolutely free. Find out what government benefits you're entitled to collect. If you're a veteran, there's no cost and no obligation. All it takes is